So you can see here what I'm using the Metal Kirk patch in a G3 version 2.0, of course. Have the actual amp model set to the DZ drive. I can't remember if the amp model is set to DZ drive for this patch or if it's using something else, but everything else is stock. Everything else on this patch is the same. It's got 2 open bays for the actual effects, has a noise gate, has a stereo chorus, has a hall reverb on there as well. Everything is stock except for, if I remember, the DZ drive. But on the DZ drive settings, I haven't changed anything. All I've done is left everything exactly the same as what the defaults are when you select this actual amp itself. The stereo chorus effects are exactly the same. The noise gates are exactly the same. The hall reverb are exactly the same. Everything on the patches is exactly the same. I haven't touched anything on there. One thing I do sort of notice is that if you're adding some kind of hall reverb, some kind of reverb itself, it does help improve sort of the bounciness, sort of the it factor when it comes to these actual metal, if you will, amps with the G3. So now I'll just show you some different sounds. I'm just going to click on the actual Alien drive. Once again, leaving everything stock, not changing anything when it comes to any of the settings on the amp model, but just changing the actual amp cabinet itself. Excuse me, the amp head. So just, here's what it sounds like. And then just going to the Revo. Once again, everything's the same. Nothing changed on the actual preset itself when it comes to selecting that model. So just, here you go. But the BG drive itself is one that sounds pretty good, just straight up. Like I said, nothing changed when it comes to the preset, just stock when you actually listen to it. So what I used on these tracks is I used the DZ drive to the left and I used the BG drive to the right, and I recorded it actually using a Focusrite Saffire 6 USB recording unit. Now the examples that you saw earlier for the Alien, the Revo, and the BG drive, those are actually recorded straight using the USB output from the actual G3. But when I actually tracked it, I wanted to use the Saffire 6 because it just seemed to sort of tame some of the, digitalness or the shrillness that you get out of using something through USB. I know it probably really, if you look at the frequencies and then some kind of tone match or some kind of EQ matching, you probably wouldn't notice anything. You probably still have the same kind of problems where you've got some kind of weird frequencies that are sort of stuck out there in limbo that you can't see, but if you actually start sweeping the frequencies, you might be able to find some kind of weird high frequencies, some kind of weird low frequencies that you can get rid of off those models, off the amps itself. But what I just did is I just plug it in, just actually from a line output, from the mono output from the G3 straight into the Saffire 6. Had to do a little tweaking when it comes to the gain input because sometimes it seemed to be sort of pushing it and sort of peaking everything when it comes to the gain. Didn't really want that because when you try to go down and mix something, when you got everything sort of squashed and sort of peaking, it causes some problems when you're trying to do some kind of mix down. So trying to get everything to sound sort of right. My drums are already slamming pretty hard, so I didn't really want to worry about the guitars causing that to be bumped up even higher. So I just went ahead and just sort of recorded it that way, just to hopefully tame it down when it comes to the digitalness of the sounds. You could sort of listen to it yourself and see if you agree or disagree. It's up to you. But what I did is what I thought worked was doing it that way.